Well, it's actually a sad day in the neighborhood. I was southbound coming back to the yard, and I saw our only 1984 362 two-axle cab over going north. And I looked over and I didn't recognize the driver, so I'm thinking, it's kind of weird. See it out on the highway, it's not even plated. Shouldn't even be on the road. So I get back to the yard and ask the mechanic and say, hey, who was in number 4? I just saw it going north. And he goes, oh, we sold that. I'm like, oh, my biggest fears are happening. This company's been around since the 40s or 50s, whenever Skip's dad started it. And I think back then they only bought 2 trucks new, and everything else they bought used. And Skip, by trade, I think, was a diesel mechanic, still working on the old iron and put it on the road. But before he sells everything else, it's kind of sad, because the people who are buying these trucks, they're not even staying in the States. They're going to Mexico or Guatemala or wherever. But this company's just got a history behind it. And before he sells everything, I wanted to show you the interior in some of these older trucks, which some of these new drivers probably have never seen, never heard, saw go by or whatever. But this is a 1974 289. I have spent more hours and more days on this truck. When I first started, I used to take this up north, drop mill run in the Central Valley, come back, spend the night in the driveway in Famoso, get great pulp, take that to Escondido. But he's done some work to this one. This was Skip's personal truck when I first started. And his paint job on it, straight stacks. I think it's a big cam 4. Amazing 13 speed. It's a 75-mile-an-hour truck all day long. Put the headlights on it, straight bumper. It's got the old AC unit up top. And when I first started, this was his baby. He really loved this truck. It's a 2-axle day cab. Usually run these bottom hoppers on it, but this is a 1974 interior. Not much to them. But I loved it. You just don't see these going down the road anymore, so you know, it's a head turner when people see it. Here are the old AC controls. This actually had the blue brake button on it, but they removed it before I got here. Red, yellow, blue. And this is where I used to sleep. My head and shoulders would be right down here, curl around. Legs and everything under there. Very uncomfortable, but it's a great company. Good people, treat like family, no ego, no competition. Everyone knows each other. Everyone helps each other. And this is what I love about these old trucks. That little hood going right down the center, the decor going right down the center. He just sold a 1962 361 needle nose with a 4 in it. I used to drive that one too for a little while, back before California started outlawing all this cool old iron. But what was neat about that truck was in the marker lights, the center one was green. That was legal back then, so it's just different now. Let me show you some other nice old iron around here before they're gone forever. Well, long story short, speaking of gone, that big boom, I don't know if you heard it, but when these hoppers heat up, they expand and they pop. So you hear that boom boom all night, or when they cool and heat. But Skip's dad started this, and Skip's getting older, and I thought he was selling stuff to get rid of it, but he actually said he's trying to, what's the word I'm looking for? He wants to upgrade the fleet and downsize a little bit. There you go. That's just too new for me. Now this bad boy is a 1962 351. So the 62 needle nose 361 and the 62 351, they were bought the same year, brand spanking new. Skip's dad bought this for Skip brand new from Peterbilt. I think, from what he told me, I think it had a 4 and a 4 in it when they got it. But you know, this is old school. When I was growing up, everything was hand painted. Dick G. Evans. It's not called that anymore. They had to change the name and open. It's a different entity. That's a whole nother video. But this is before they knew the word amenity. Skip said he wanted to restore this, but Skip's got more want than time. He also has some airplanes, World War II type airplanes he restored, and he flies them in the movies, and that takes up a lot of his time too. But when I was growing up, this is what my dad was driving. Yeah, come on. This thing's been sitting here since the first day I started here. So that's 12 years ago. Oh, baby. Now this here, I don't know much about. But Skip said he learned to drive on these. A GMC something. And he's got 2 of these. He's got a frame and engine and a cab sitting over in the welding shop. And he wants to marry these 2 trucks together. I don't even know if it's diesel or gas, but he wants to marry these 2 trucks together and restore it. He just has an affinity for these. I think this might be a 5 and a 2 or 5 and a 3. I'm not positive. So the progression of things is he learned on this. His dad bought him the 351. Skip eventually fell in love with the 74-289, called that his, and then he bought himself his last truck, which is a beautiful 389 flat top 550 ISX 13.3 36 rears. Amazing. These boom trailers, stingers, bolt trailers, whatever they're called in your part of the world. This is the second trailer I ever remember my dad pulling. And when you're 3 and 4 years old and he lets you run this boom, you're a big man. I love it. One of my first memories with this particular, not this trailer, but this type is I wasn't even taller than these tires, and he let me run the controls. And we were at a mill in Hanford. That mill's still there. And he let me run it, and I thought, I'm big. And it's funny because I was wearing a shirt with my name on it, and some guy called me by my name. I thought, man, everyone knows me already. And let me show you my personal favorite. Oh baby, oh baby, oh baby. Now we're getting into my era. This is a 1986 359. It's a short hood. It's got the square headlights. Skip's done, well, not done some work to it. He's maintained this truck to the T. All the parts are there. The sleeper curtains, the fire door curtain, the dash, is everything. I think it's it is a big cam 3. I think it has 411 rears, because you can't get this truck over 55 without winding it up. 60 if you're screaming. But he's got it all polished out. This is for sale too. 40, I think it's a 45-foot walk-in floor. I think this used to be Old Man Ray's. I guess they're selling really well in Canada. But these 359s, what I absolutely, well, one is this was like the popular thing when I was a kid, W900s and 359s. But it's got the Corvette dash in it. Well, besides this, check that out. You don't see that anymore. The Corvette dash. Come on. It's just got that hump there. AC controls. And it's tiny. I mean, this much room between the seat. Spent years in this truck. Actually, it was Bobby's first, and then Bobby got a DUI, and then I started driving it, which was nice because it's the first truck that I drove for them, for these guys, that had the I really can't see back there. It's a little 36-inch coffin sleeper. No shelves, no nothing like that. Fire door on each side. But it's all there. Dash isn't cracked or anything. Bobby's a little younger than me, but he had that old school flair too. He put a lot of his own money into this truck. Had some lights on it and everything, and then Bobby moved to Oregon, started a hay farm, and he's got an 81 359 short hood with a truck and pup flatbed. He's been doing hay. I guess he's been doing pretty well from what I heard. Yeah, but this is some good old iron here, and California just says can't have it. Now, this is Mario's truck. He's as sick as I am. The inside of this guy's truck is like a museum, and I can't get mine that clean. And if you've ever run a walking floor, you know it's probably one of the messier things you can do in a truck. But at the end of every day, he's spotless. His truck is spotless. I was gonna say, watch this one day it's dirty. So this is, everyone's probably seen one of these. This is your flat dash 379. This has a M11 in it, 13 speed, day cab. Yeah, he keeps it clean. The only thing I bust his balls about, he keeps his frame nice and clean. But I told him, I said, hey, one day we'll come in on the weekend and let's detail your trailer. Let's get the black looking black again. Let's get the tires. Let's get the grease off of it. And he's never hit me up. But yeah, this guy's sick. Now this is the boss's truck. This is Skipperoo's truck. I hate to show it to you because it's dirty. Normally it is detailed, polished out, kept in the maintenance bay, but it rained. We got a dirt yard, got some dirt on it, but this thing was built right. He said this is his last truck he's gonna buy. 550, 13, 336, 265 wheelbase, 48-inch sleeper, flat top. Normally I've gotten to drive all of his babies. The 361, the 74 259. When I got here, no one was allowed to drive it, and me and Bobby were the only ones. Or, well, let me put it this way: I was happy when I got this allowed to start driving it, because it was very slick people. So everyone's seen the inside of a 389, but the story that Skip tells, I guess the older you get, you just have this knack for telling stories. But he said back in the day when he started driving for his dad, 200 horsepower in that little GMC or that little 351 back there. 200 horsepower. He said it'd take me 3.5 hours to get to LA, which is about 76, 78 miles away. He said Star Milling, which is up the road, it's a mill about 6 miles away. He said he'd just be hitting 35, 40 miles an hour with the 404 fully loaded back then. So now he says 40, 50 years later, he has 3 times the amount of horsepower. Still takes him 3.5 hours to get to LA. I like it. This truck still smells like new. He doesn't want to go on electronic logs, so this only runs 8 days a month, so he's still on paper. I'm jealous. I asked him if I could do the same thing, but he wants me to make money for him. Speaking of money, there's my money maker. Every Sunday, she gets a scrubbing. I actually just finished. I'm too tired to give her a wax job, but I can't leave on Sunday with a dirty truck. It's just it's not me. It's not how I was raised. But this was a Peterbilt interior video, so no need for me to show you the inside of the W900 Butte. Yeah, I hate to see this old iron go, but that's California for you. Yeah, I'm not happy, but we'll see what happens.